Morning. Welcome to Scar Beautiful Live. I'm Andrea Castile-Smith, and I am Scarred Beautiful. Today we're going to talk about shame's greatest arsenal. Do you know what that is? Shame strangles us. It's a noose around our neck. It controls everything we do, and it tightens every day. But what is shame's greatest arsenal against you and me? And I believe it's the labels that it speaks over our hearts and our minds, those names and words that penetrate our heart. But before I do, I wanted to explain one thing real quick. Every Thursday in April, we will do a Scar Beautiful live show, and at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, but unfortunately this morning I need to take my daughter to the doctor, and he could only see her at 9:30. So I am pre-recording the show, but I do really want to interact with you. So please comment and interact with me, and I will respond to everything that's going on. So please be part of this, even though it's pre-recorded, because at 10, I'll actually be at the doctor's office with my little girl. And many of you are women and mothers and understand that our babies always take priority. But let's again go back to today's topic, and that's shame's greatest arsenal, the labels we speak over ourselves. See, I had a label that I placed on myself at a very young age. It started as a label and became my name. It was a secret name that I only knew. I would speak it over myself when I looked in the mirror, when I got dressed, when I stood in church, and when I went to school. I would just whisper this name over my heart again and again. Outwardly, I pretended, I smiled, I hid this reality and acted as though this name didn't even exist. Yet the truth is, that name was very real, and it became so real that it ended up describing me. And that name was Scarred. I would introduce myself and I would smile and say, "Hi, my name is Andrea." But inside, I would whisper, "I'm scarred." Do you have a label? Do you have a name? What is that name? Why do we label ourselves? Why do we speak such cruel words over our hearts and minds? These labels, these names, rob us of our worth. They steal from us opportunity and create a negative perspective of all we have endured. Jesus said, "The thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life and they may have it more abundantly." That's John 10:10. See, the truth is, these terrible names and labels we put on ourselves are actually not true, but distortions of the truth. Yes, I am actually scarred. I carry many scars on my body, and I carry scars in my heart. Yet, are my scars who I am? Was it fair to describe me, the whole me, as scarred? And then I needed to ask myself, who is labeling me? Who is speaking this name over me? Is this a voice I should be listening to? More importantly, why is this voice hissing this horrible name over me, over my life, over my future? Because if a thief only comes into a home and takes the most valuable items and leaves that which is of little worth, then what is this thief in my own head trying to take from me? Susan Noonan, who's a medical doctor, wrote an article published in Psychology Today and said that there is a danger in believing these negative statements that we speak over ourselves. Believing something that is not a true reflection of you can cause emotional pain and suffering. It can have a major impact on the way you see yourself and think about yourself and how you present yourself to the world. In thinking this way, your mind is closed to possibilities of what you might accomplish or who you might become in the future. She continued, experiences and opportunities that might have been available to you no longer are. Since you don't give yourself a chance, you set yourself up for failure, disappointment, and unhappiness. So let me introduce myself to you today. I'm Andrea. I'm no longer scarred. That's not my name, because I have been given a new name, and that name is Scarred Beautiful. How did I find a new name? God gave it to me. Did you know that God gives us names? Think about it. The names he's given people throughout the Bible. He gave Abram the name Abraham. Sarai, he changed to Sarah. He called Simon Peter, and Saul, he changed to Paul. Why did God do this? Every name he spoke over these people was a prophetic word over their life, a destiny they were to fulfill but hadn't yet. See, he saw in them their calling. Abraham, who was fatherless when he was nameless, but God called him Abraham, which means father to many. He changed a barren woman named Sarai, who was old and barren, yet God called her Sarah, which means mother of nations. Can you imagine that? Me, I actually am a barren woman. I can't have children, but God brought me children through adoption. And in my heartache of not being able to have kids, God spoke to my heart and said my hallways would be filled with the sound of children's laughter. That's true for me today. And when he named Peter, Peter means rock. And Jesus declared, on this rock, I will build my church. Peter, who had denied Jesus 3 times, was the first to, after Pentecost, go out to the city and declare that Jesus Christ had risen. How powerful is that? And since that day, think of the revolution of that message of Jesus Christ that now is all across the world. And Paul is the Greek name for Saul. See, God called Paul the apostle to the Gentiles. If that makes sense, let me explain that. Paul is the Greek name from Saul. God changed his Hebrew name to a Gentile name because Paul is an apostle to the Gentiles. See, I finally realized that the name Scarred was a lie. It was a label that undermined my truth. I was speaking this terrible name over myself and actually stealing from my life's true potential because Scarred, that label, stole the beauty that my actual scars represent in my life. Scarred stole the purpose my scars represent in my life. And scarred gave me shame when God called me worthy. Scarred kept me wounded when God called me healed. I ask you again, what is your name or label that you have been speaking over your heart? Do you have a name or a label? That name and that label is stealing your calling, your purpose that God has for you. Its very intent is to take what is precious, what is valuable, and reduce you to useless. Do you see that? It's time to speak God's given name over your heart. Do you see the difference in the power of this? The thief is stealing your calling and your purpose. That's what's most valuable to him. And he's taking that where God is calling you and giving you names of purpose. I want want you to do this. I want you to do as I have. I want you to write down every horrible name or label that has been speaking over your life. Write it on a piece of paper. And then take a pen or pencil and scratch that horrible lie out. Just cross it out. Because it's a lie. And we must recognize these names are lies and they're stealing from us. Then do this. I want you to do this because I've done it and it changed my life. Put your hand on your heart and close your eyes and ask God, what are the names that you call me? I'm telling you, He'll start speaking to you. And God will give you these names that He calls you. Let Him share with you your purpose. This isn't for others, it's for you from Him. So stop and close your eyes and ask God what He calls you. As you do this, I promise you names will come to your heart. They will come as a whisper. Don't question, don't argue, and don't neglect these names. This is God speaking to you. It's like we want to say, wait, God, I'm going to argue with you because it's hard to receive His calling. It's hard to receive kindness and beauty. But this is God speaking to you. And as they come, I want you to write the truth on a piece of paper. Every name He whispers. Write it down. And you don't have to show anyone. Just do it. Let Him continue to speak. Wait on it. Allow time. He'll do it. And I want you to start to recognize His voice and be able to silence evil. It screams at you. Silence it. Because you'll start to recognize it. Evil. It comes as a hiss. It hurts and it damages and it takes. Where when God speaks it comes in peace. It comes as a beautiful fragrance. It's soft. It's lovely. And it builds us up. Now, also, some of these names might not make sense today. They're not like reality today. But remember, just like Sarah, He's calling you to your purpose. This is who you are to become. So just keep writing. And I want to show you mine so that you know that I too did this. I wrote down every horrible name, every label that I had accepted and received in my heart. And I crossed them out. And next to them, I put the names that God calls me. What God calls me. And you know, when others now say things to me, it doesn't penetrate me. Because I know who I am in Him. And I know who He's called me to be. And although in times I have truly failed, and I have scars of failure, but God lifted me back up. And He reminds me that they're not the mark of my fall, but the moment that I rose again. And every physical scar and every scar in my heart, He calls beautiful. Because my physical scars are His example and evidence that healing is possible. My scars were wounds that healed. Now, I want you to do this. Once you've written, crossed it out, and then allowed God to speak to you. And I want you to continue to allow Him to speak to you because He'll keep doing it. But also do this. I want you to actually prophesy those words God speaks over you because they are prophetic and we need to receive them. Not just write them down and close the book. We need to receive them and accept them and let them build us up and declare them over our life and who we are to become and our calling in Him and our purposes are true today. And we need to do that over our children too. We need to allow God to speak those beautiful names that He's called our children and say, I declare today as your mother that God is calling you too. And you are. Can you imagine the effect that this will have not only in our own lives, but our families' lives and our children. Take the names he has given you and begin to speak them over yourself. Do it in the car while you're getting ready. Just speak them over. Worthy, loved, forgiven. If that terrible old name comes up, begin to speak truth over it. It's a lie. And call it for what it is. When I get scarred, I say, no, I am scarred beautiful because God has called me that. Embrace the names he gives you. Let them settle into your spirit. Let them permeate your heart because you are worthy. You have purpose. You are his child. You are his chosen, and he calls you beloved. I'm going to end today, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you will join me again next Thursday for Scarred Beautiful Life. But as I end today, let me pray with you. Is that okay? Dear Jesus, thank you for this. Thank you for the words that you speak over us. Help us recognize that the other labels, those terrible things that we allow into our hearts and our lives are just lies, and the thief intends to steal that very purpose you call us every day to. Lord Jesus, I ask that every person who listens to this receives your voice and hears those beautiful names that you have called them to be, that they too can walk in the destiny and the beauty of who you have made them and declared over them. In Jesus'